Okay, I am joined by Ryan, who is an adult probation officer for County of Sonoma. And we're going to ask him a few questions about his profession. The first one being, what exactly does a probation officer do, specifically in the day-to-day?
Well, just to start off, and thanks for having me, Robin. Probation, not to be confused with parole. Parole is the state level. People go to prison, they get released on parole. Probation is the start of that whole, um, that that I guess the life cycle of a case. Person gets arrested, they go through the court process. If they're convicted, the court has the option to place them on community probation. I'm part of the probation unit where we do the investigating. So I work in interviewing, I do reports, and then I work with the court. So what they would do is person goes to court, they get convicted, court sends a referral to us, we write a report, and part of that is the interview process. And then we submit that to the court, and then based on whatever we write and what other people have provided input to the court, they provide that information, and the court will then make a finding on how they want to proceed with a certain individual. Probation will usually see if they're even fit for probation. The court may not know that at that point, but usually, typically, if it's coming to us, it's a good chance somebody's going to get probation. So there's two ways about it, though. There's a report where we make a recommendation, and there's another report where there's already been pre-decided that they're going to get probation. We're just providing information that will go to the supervising officer, who will then supervise them in the community for 3, 4, 5 years.
So let's talk about some of those roles in probation. So I know you're in investigations, so that means that you're doing research, you're writing reports, you're making recommendations, you're going to court. Briefly, what are some other positions within probation?
The other would be supervision, and of course there's adult and juvenile probation. Juvenile, I've never worked in juvenile, so I really can't provide too much insight about what they do. I know they do a lot of restorative justice, they do a lot of programming. And we do programming. When I got into probation originally, we weren't really that, I guess you would call like a therapeutic. We're more punitive. But now we've really opened up. We have a local group called the Day Reporting Center, where people who are on probation can go there every day to learn job skills and get counseling and therapy as they need. Of course, drug rehabilitation is pretty big. Mental health could always be better, but those are some of the many. And then that's not something that's in-house with probation. Those are things that we reach out to do. We do have in-house counselors, and of course meeting with your probation officer, but everybody's on a different level of some sort of probation. As well, within probation, we do work with the courts where there's a domestic violence court. We have a domestic violence officer. There's a DUI court. We have a DUI officer, and we have a mental health caseload as well.
Okay. Thanks for the extra info. And how about you in particular? How did you get into this profession? And did it require any specific education or training?
So originally I had gone to college to become a teacher. And when it took me longer than expected, I applied with the County of Sonoma with the juvenile and adult probation, and I ended up getting hired with the juvenile hall, and I never really looked back. But before that, I was working at group homes, so I kind of got a sense of that side of the juvenile rehabilitative system. And it just kind of just fell into it, and I've just stayed there. Been there for 10 years, and that was in 2007.
So you have a degree in a field that's, I see the relationship, but it's not directly related. It's not criminal justice. Do you have to have a degree? And if you do have a degree, does it have to be in criminal justice or field?
Yeah, we do require a degree, the hiring process, and also we are implementing an intern program, which we also need to have a degree or in the process of getting one. So yes, and now as far as in the field, of criminal justice or sociology or in
Maybe
I'll
psychology
playing
or
river
something. Yeah.
psychology. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I was hanging up on that one. We have I've multiple. In fact, one of my supervisors, he's a I think he went to school for art history, and he's now been a supervisor for many years. Another guy that's used to be one of the gang caseload was a journalist major. So we all come from different backgrounds, of course. I think I said before, history. I was studying modern Russian history. Really does not cross over. I don't deal with anything like that in my day-to-day coursework, but writing reports is one of the big things that I did in my studies, and that helped immensely.
And research, I would think.
Research, of course, yes.
Yeah. Okay, well, how about things you like most about your job and maybe a challenge within this career?
Um, well, in particular with my caseload and the unit I work in, I kind of have an open schedule. I do have deadlines to work towards. I do go to court twice a week, um, and it varies in times, and we get hours for the time we go. So if I go to court, I get have to do less report. I guess that would be the translation there. But just the autonomy to be able to get out and do my own thing. I do work from home once a week right now, and definitely working from home. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I do enjoy just having my own process. How I deal with, as long my supervisors don't care what I do, as long as I get my reports in and they're at least legible and they can understand what I'm trying to say.
Hmm. Okay, so autonomy, and that's going to be a really desirable factor for a lot of people. And how about
Yeah.
something that you find challenging, though?
Well, I just want to go back. Autonomy in the supervision side, it's lacking. It doesn't really exist there because you're out in the field. So that's why I've stayed in investigations for so long. And I think when I've done this before with you, I've told your students that I write and write and read and write all day long. That's what I do. And a lot of people are not going to like that, but that suits me perfectly fine.
So,
Um,
sorry to interrupt you, but so if somebody's looking to be in probation, the investigative side is going to be out in the field. Some people are even armed. You're managing a
so
caseload versus
that's the other.
writing. Yeah.
Yeah, investigation is writing. Supervision is out in the field. Some of them are armed. Um, they're more with the public. I deal with the defendants directly, one to one in the jail or on the in person in the office. But I'm not armed. I don't go on the field. I have a cubicle I sit in and I write reports and sometimes call people and then I go to court.
So, how about something you don't particularly enjoy about your position within probation?
Uh, I think something that I was pondering and uh, that bothers me about it, and it's kind of a system-wide issue, and I think it's the same in every state. But I think all the various departments, law enforcement included, we need to have a universal system where we all can tap into it and get all the information we need from it. In this day and age of this super technology, there's no reason we should be calling and hoping that someone picks up a phone to give us information we need for a report. It should be online, and we all should be connected to it. But for whatever reason, uh, people are very um, they like to secure their information and not provide it to other people. But it'd help everybody if we were able to get the same information from the same one source. And
So,
that's
you
my
almost
my big gripe.
wish you could collaborate, I guess, more seamlessly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that would make the job so much easier.
Yeah. So, in terms of students who are interested in this line of work, not only where would they get started, but how would they know through that process of starting that it's a good fit for them?
I think interning, reaching out and talking to whatever department you want. I mean that can go across to law enforcement. Like I said, we are starting an intern program. Um, it's going to be limited to the people that are involved, and it's just starting off. But interning, talking to people that work in it and see what they do, like this is a good example. And I think researching it to know, because there's a lot of misconceptions about probation. I have family members that think I work in parole. People think they're one and the same. There's a lot of things that are completely different about it. So just kind of doing some research about it. Interning is always great, or talking to somebody who's done it.
How about a particular personality type that would thrive best in this position?
Because a lot of personality types I deal with that are thriving.
Yeah, that's okay. It can be a range.
Yeah, I mean, if you come from a law enforcement type mentality, we have people that have been in law enforcement, military, and then you have people that come more from the therapeutic side of it, from the psychological side of it. I don't know where I fit in there. I tend to think I come from the psychological side just because I'm more interested in that side of it, and uh, but it could fit everybody. I will say that you do come across information and stories and individuals that will really kind of shake your core. That's one thing to be mindful of. But if you don't have a problem with that and you want to get out and kind of serve the community at large, it's a good place to work. Good thing to do.
Great. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, and I'll make sure to let people know, go to County of Sonoma for probation internship opportunities. Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Robin. Bye, guys.